Are we back? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to be here and I'm so happy to be talking to you. This is long overdue. Life is just lifing. Life has changed a lot since I last talked to you guys, and it's not where I thought it would be at all. If you can tell by the title, there's a lot that I need to update you guys on, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna chit chat. It's gonna be a long video, so sit down, grab your snacks, grab your waters. So let's get into this video. So the biggest update that I have for you guys is that we are expecting baby number 3. I feel like a lot of you started following me due to our IVF story, trying to have our kids from like 4 years ago. And so I'm excited to actually come on and talk to you guys about this third baby and how it came about. I'll leave the links for the series that I made about our pregnancy and conception journey, IVF journey, for our Daxon, and then further on Darren, description box below. So if you haven't watched it and you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, then you can watch those. But yes, Daxon was an IVF baby and we had to go through the whole retrieval process. What's the word? ICSI process, like all of that to make these embryos. Transferred one, did not work, transferred another one, that one worked, which became Daxon. As soon as Daxon turned a year, went and just transferred another embryo, which ended up being Darren. And then once Darren turned a year, we were like, we're done. We kind of already knew that we wanted just to be kind of 2 and done. I had just finished breastfeeding. I had breastfed Darren for about 13 months, and I finally was getting my body back, and I was just like, I don't want to have any more kids. We're very happy with playing man-to-man and it just being the 4 of us. September 29th, I believe, the Phoenix Suns had a family evening or family day where all of the families from the players, coaches, staff came, and we just all kind of got together, hung out, said hello to start the beginning of the season. And I remember talking to one of the coach's wives, and her kids are a little bit older than mine, but they're the same distance apart. And so we were just like kind of talking about how we really like their age gap. We really like that we have a boy and a girl, and we don't want any more. Like, we're very happy. But I was telling her, I'm like, I've got 11 embryos on ice. I don't know what to do with them. They're expensive to keep housing and paying for, especially if you don't know if you're gonna even transfer more, if you're kind of positive that you don't want anymore. But she just was like, you know what, Sydel, you might want another kid, so like, don't get rid of them. Keep them because you never know, you're young. I just turned 30, not yet. When I was having this conversation, I was still 29. So I was like, you know what, maybe like I might want another kid in like 5 years, maybe. So I guess I had decided that I was gonna keep the embryos, but no plans in transferring another embryo anytime soon. So then maybe 30 minutes later, one of the players' wives saw Darren, and she was like, oh my gosh, like Darren's getting so big, she's already walking. I'm like, yeah girl, it's crazy how fast it goes. And she's like, well, you know what that means? And looks at Damien and I, and Damien and I were both like, no, we're good, like we're happy, you got 2, we're done, good to go. Drive home that night, we're putting the kids to bed, we're doing our normal routine, and I just happened to like glance at my phone just to look at it in between like the kids brushing their teeth and then getting them into bed, and my Flow app. So I keep a Flow period tracker app, one because like my mind's all over the place and I never remember when my period's gonna come, and so that's why I had the Flow app. And also like my periods are very irregular because I breastfed for 13 months. After about 7 weeks, 8 weeks, I stopped bleeding and then just stayed off my period up until around 10 months postpartum, 10, 11 months postpartum. And so it's like super irregular. Like I just needed something to help me keep track, not really for family planning purposes, for the obvious reasons. We can't get pregnant naturally, or if we do get pregnant, I can't keep the baby because my progesterone is too low, and then we also have male factors, so it's just like not a possibility. And so anyways, I look at my app, it said that my period was 11 days late. I was like, oh, okay, like I had just stopped. Like when my period started to back up again, I started weaning off pumping. I was still breastfeeding fully with Darren, but I wasn't pumping at all. And so then I thought, well, you know, my body's still, I had 2 periods in between this time and when I stopped pumping. And so I just thought, you know, I'm not doing anything. She's not breastfeeding, I'm not pumping. My body is just getting used to not having to produce milk. That's why it's late. So I go to the bathroom like I normally do. I bought a bunch of Amazon cheap pregnancy tests back in 2018 when we were trying to have our baby and it wasn't working. I just stopped buying the first response ones and I started buying the cheap ones off Amazon where you can get like a box of 100 for like $8. And so I had so many of those left between then and now. So I'm just like using them all up. I'll take pregnancy tests when like if it comes to my mind, like, oh, I want to take a test, I'll take a test knowing that like it's gonna be negative. And so I go through my normal routine, go to the bathroom in the middle of bedtime because I had to pee anyway, so I'm like, let me just go test. And I grabbed the last, it was the very last cheap one that I had. I'm sitting on the toilet, I just dip it, normal routine. And I'm just sitting there because like, also if you're a parent, you know, like when you're in the bathroom and the kids are being watched after by someone else, like my husband was watching them at the time, I'm not in any kind of rush, right? Like I'm gonna take my time in the bathroom because that's like just a little bit of me time. So I'm sitting in the toilet, I dip it, and I'm just like looking at the little strip as the pee starts to develop. I see a first line come up, and if you don't know anything about like pregnancy tests, the first line is your test line and the second line is your control line. So you match up the first line with the second line. The second line is always going to be there. The first line is only going to be there if you're pregnant or not if you're not pregnant. So I'm watching as the stick is developing and the first line immediately pops up and I'm like, wait, what is this? What is this? Like the pee just touched the test line and it was like immediate line. Continues on, the second line comes up and I'm like, oh my god, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like that's all I was saying was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Trust me, I am like a certified pregnancy test taker, professional. I've been in this game for a long time. If you've been in TTC and you know, like we are professional test readers, test takers. Or if you're like trying to conceive and you think you see a little line but you're not sure, send it to me. I will tell you if I see a faint line or not, and I'm usually right. Anyways, I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm just saying, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I put the test behind my back and I go just stand in the hallway where Damien and the kids are and I'm just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And he's like, what? And he's like yelling at me because I can't even speak the word. He told me later on that he thought that like someone was dead or like something bad had happened. And I was just like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, Sydel, stop playing. Like we have to put these kids to bed. Like stop playing. And I'm like, I'm not playing with you. And I pull the stick out and I show him and he's like, oh my gosh. And I just like start crying. I just break down in tears, crying, so many emotions. And I'm gonna be honest with you, they weren't happy emotions. They were like emotions of being overwhelmed, emotions of like, I don't know if I can do this, emotions of, I don't even know if I want to do that. Like obviously I'm doing it. Like there's no other options but to do this. But you know, like when I'm gonna get into the reasons why I just wasn't like very happy at the time that I was pregnant. If you were to tell me 3 years ago, Sydel, you would have had mixed feelings about being pregnant, I would have been like, you're crazy. But that's where I was at the time. I just was not, I couldn't grasp that concept in that moment. So we had to like snap out of it. The kids still needed to go to bed. Finally in bed, I had a digital test and I took that. And usually that takes like 3 minutes for the test to tell you if you're pregnant or not. It took about 30 seconds for the digital to say, yes, you're pregnant. Very shocking. A little bit of background on like how the last year of my life has gone before I found out I was pregnant. I just recently got diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, something that I had a feeling I had, but it didn't quite really present itself until after I had kids. And I can make a whole video about that as well if you want. Just let me know in the comments below if you want me to like talk more about ADD and ADHD and my personal experience with it. But I had been on medication for about 2 weeks. And when I tell you guys, like I had never felt such peace of mind. I had never felt such ease of life, as easy as it can get mentally in that sense, than I did when I had answers and I was put on some medication that worked best for me. And so I was really disappointed that I had to stop taking my medication because like I was very happy. I was very happy. I had my body back. I had struggled all throughout my postpartum with losing my baby weight. I think it's just because I was breastfeeding the whole time, and some people are lucky enough to like drop weight like that with breastfeeding. I was not. With Darren, with Daxon, I dropped a lot of weight pretty quickly, but I also wasn't successfully breastfeeding. With Darren, I successfully breastfed her for 13 months, no formula, nothing like that, which was a goal of mine. And I ate. I made sure that I was up on my nutrition as much as I could to make sure that I was eating enough for myself so that I could feed her. And in doing so, like I just didn't lose any weight, and I finally started losing weight and like feeling really good in my body. And it really isn't about what's on the scale. It's about how I felt in clothes, how I felt naked in front of my husband, how I felt just like internally. That really mattered to me, and I was starting to feel so good about myself. I had been in the gym for like a year, just like working on my body, working on myself, trying to feel good about myself. And then not even a month later of really feeling good about myself. I find out that I'm pregnant again. I'm gonna have to go through all of that. That was really difficult. I announced all of this on social media a couple months ago on Thanksgiving, and then I had posted like our reaction. So if you haven't seen that, go follow me on my Instagram. It's Sydel Curly. There's a video that has a disclaimer in the front, so if you're looking for it on Reel or in my posts, there's like a gray disclaimer on the front cover talking about warning before watching the video. A lot of comments were very supportive. Some other comments weren't as understanding as how I was feeling in that moment. That was a raw, real moment. I confirmed the pregnancy with the clear blue test in that video, and so it was minutes after confirming that I was pregnant, and people were just being like, some people were understanding of my emotions that I were going through. And I remember seeing one comment that was like, you guys have money, hire a nanny, like you have help, da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, we're very, very, very blessed. An amazing support system. My fear and overwhelm, I mean, I'm still very overwhelmed, but my fear about having a third baby and all that comes with that decreased a lot because of the support system that we have. But no one really talks about what pregnancy does on a woman's body, what pregnancy does to our mental health, to our physical health, to our just overall well-being. And that is a major thing. Like, that's something that should be considered. That's something that should be talked about. It should be recognized, and it shouldn't just be, oh well, you can afford it, like you're fine, you can have the baby. It's like, okay, but like, can my mental health afford it? Can my other two children, whom I want to also make sure that they feel loved and important while I'm going through my first trimester, while I'm going through postpartum, can they afford it? Like, I'm thinking about them as well. Like, I want to be a good mother for them as well. So those are all the thoughts that were going through my head, but I'm feeling a lot better. Today, as I'm recording this, I'm 20 weeks, which is crazy. I'm already almost halfway there. I'm feeling better about the idea of having a third baby. Still overwhelmed, like I said, but I don't cry about it anymore. I cried for like 2 weeks after finding out, and then I was just kind of like telling everyone around me, anyone that I ran into, I'm like, I'm pregnant, just because I wanted it needed to feel real. It didn't feel real to me, especially like natural conception. Like, this was something that we did not think could happen for us at all. And so while it was scary and overwhelming and a lot of fear happening, it was also like, wow, this was really meant to be, because this baby had to go through a whole lot of no's and a whole lot of like not possible to a yes. You can't not help but think like, it's meant to be. Like, I can do this. We're really excited now. Every day I get more like excited to go through labor and delivery. I've been really lucky enough to have, for the most part, really good birthing experiences. And so I'm excited for that, and just to be in like a little postpartum bubble. I love a postpartum bubble, and I'm just excited to like cuddle up with new baby and to give my other kids another sibling. I get a little emotional every time I think about Dara not being the baby anymore. Like, I have pictures all over my office of her, and I'm like, she's not gonna be the baby anymore. It makes me so sad. Like, I just have such like it's my little girl, you know. Daxon is such an older brother. He's like such a good older brother. My baby's not gonna be the baby anymore. Ugh, let me get it together. Next, I want to talk about like my first trimester and that experience. So one of the things that I was super bummed about, this is kind of like first world problems, really surface level, shallow, but I just turned 30 in October, and I was so excited for my 30th birthday because I was gonna shake ass. Drink and party with my mom, my sisters, and my friends, and I was gonna like really turn up for my 30th birthday, right? Like, I made it to 30. That's crazy. And I just was sick. I was sick the entire time. I originally was gonna like get a whole house full of all of my friends, my cousins, my mom, like all of the women in my life who have just like been a rock for me since the beginning of my time. Then even before I got pregnant, I was like, that sounds like a lot to plan, and I don't really want to have to plan anything. So we ended up just going to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which was so fun. I'm so happy that I switched from like a big party villa island situation to Jackson Hole with a small group, which was my mom, my sister, both my sister-in-laws, my godmother, and my mother-in-law. So it was just 6 of us at Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and it was the perfect 30th birthday that I needed while I was so sick, so freaking nauseous, so tired, still bummed because I really wanted to drink. I wanted to have a cocktail with them, and I wanted to like do all the I still did all the fun things, but you know, I was 11 weeks pregnant, in the thick of the pregnancy first trimester sickness. But I had a great time in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I was in Jackson Hole for 4 days, I think. Came home for 36 hours, left to go to LA for 4 days, took the kids, and we wanted to go see the opening games for the Suns. So I was in LA traveling with kids. If you know, you know. It was a lot, but I'm happy we went. On our way home, I just was like, I'm so excited to be home finally. I can like nap. I can just be in my own space. I can just ride. I'm so excited. Get home. Damien's like, I'm gonna pick up from the airport. I have like a last birthday surprise for you. It's like a date I want to take you on. Like, okay, like cool. That's fine. It's just a couple hours. I can do a couple hours. And then we're driving and we pull into this neighborhood and I'm like, what are we doing? And he's like, oh, I got us a private pottery lesson. In my head, I'm thinking like, a pottery lesson? Like seriously, you couldn't wait until I got like a good night's sleep or until I was like not feeling nauseous to do pottery. I'd love like changing up of a date night or a date day and like thinking outside of the box. Pottery. Anyways, pull up to his house and then I see balloons on the outside of the door and I'm like, I mean, I guess it's like a pottery, like people come here all the time to do pottery, so maybe there's always balloons, always like decorated. I walk in and I get surprised by some of my closest best friends, like my best friend who flew from Charlotte, from California, from Atlanta, like all over. They took the time out of their day, or took time out of their life to come and spend the weekend with me, which was so fun. I'm not gonna lie, like, I was dead tired. Like I was just, oh gosh, it was hard for me to like push through, but it wasn't that hard either because these are my girls and I don't get to see them that often in that kind of way, like of all of us together. And so I really enjoyed that weekend, and then after that I was at home. Okay, I was at home. I still had to travel out for work. That was the other crazy thing about finding out I was pregnant and not expecting to be pregnant, is that I had scheduled my October, November, well, our busy months for us in general, because Darren's birthday's in August and then we get September off, and then October is me and Damien's birthday back to back. November is Thanksgiving, Daxon's birthday, and then December you've got Christmas and all the other stuff that's happening. So it's been like the busiest time of my life, along with just not feeling well. Yeah, like a lot of the symptoms that I have, I just had like extreme fatigue. Still kind of do. I think I'm just now starting to come out of it, but I will take a nap. Like I can't stay awake to save my life. Again, very lucky for my support system. My mother-in-law has been here a lot. My mom came for a long time. We have a great, she's our nanny, but we call her like my kids' best friends because they're locked in, who literally, they're all like a saving grace to me, and I'm very, 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 very lucky. Like, that's why you don't really see me complaining a whole lot about motherhood or like anything like that, like on a public platform. I try not to complain at all about motherhood outside of like just silly stuff, because I do recognize like my privilege and how lucky and blessed I am to have a support system. Even with the support system, parenthood and motherhood is still the most difficult thing that I've ever done in my entire life, and it takes a lot out of you, especially if you've gone from, we'll go from 0 to 3 babies in 4 years. So yeah, kind of crazy. I had a lot of nausea. I was nauseous whole month of October and November. Halfway through December, I was nauseous like for 2.5 months, which sucked. I was useless. I had a lot of mom guilt going for me because I couldn't do anything. My kids wanted to play and I'm like, I can't play with them. I'm pregnant. I'm like, mommy literally can't play with you. Mommy's so tired. Mommy's so sick. And like, they're kids, they don't understand it. And so like, mommy, come on. And so I'm like trying my best. I just felt like it was really hard because I went from literally being like on top of the world, all the energy, all the motivation, all the mental clarity, physically feeling well, all this stuff, to just like back to the bottom, like just feeling like a pile of garbage, useless, literally useless. So it's been really difficult for me, but again, we are on the up and up. We're climbing our way back up, even though I'm getting bigger. So yeah, I'm in the second trimester. Like I said, I'm about halfway through. We do know the gender of the baby. I will be announcing it pretty soon. We just had our anatomy scan, and I wanted to make sure that everything was good with the baby and that it was confirmed the gender at that time. I will be sharing soon, and we're really excited about this. People ask me all the time, like, well, do you want a boy or a girl? And I'm like, honestly, one of the good things about not really expecting to get pregnant at all is you have no preference over what is in your belly, because it wasn't planned to be there in the first place. So I would have been happy with literally anything. I would have been happy because I already have one and I already have another, and I love them both and they're both perfect to me. If there's any other questions or any other updates that you guys want, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna do my best to keep updating you guys on here. I know you guys want daily vlogs and stuff like that. It's just hard with kids, but I'm gonna do my best. But I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.